I think mentorship is also not always about you telling the other person what to do. It's more of asking them the right questions, because usually the answer is already inside the person and they just haven't realized it yet. And our role is really not to tell people what to do, but kind of just giving them the guiding directions for them to realize it on their own.
Mika Aldaba, welcome back to Roots. You were
Hello.
on episode 10. This is a new format to just catch up with past guests. So, Mika, what have you been up to since, your last episode was in December of 2018?
Yeah, that was so long ago. I was still doing my master's in digital communication at that time, and that was pre-pandemic. So a lot of things really happened. I felt like I've grown a lot. I became a dog mom, and I also got my permanent residency in Denmark. And I just quit my most recent full-time job, which we can talk about more later.
Where is that?
Yes,
And
so
why?
when we last talked, I was still a student assistant at KPMG, which is one of what is known as the Big Four accounting/consulting firms. And since then, after I graduated, I started in EY, also 5 years ago. And then, so I was there as a student, and then on the graduate level as a junior consultant, and then all the way to senior consultant level. And then I got my permanent residency and hit 5 years at EY at the same time, which prompted me to take a career pause or break or a mini sabbatical.
Why is that? Like, I mean, isn't it the goal for everyone to be become senior consultant when you're watching the drama series or whatever? Like, hey, I'm senior consultant.
Actually, I really, really, really wanted to be promoted to manager. And I was actually on the fast track to do that. But then a combination of a lot of things happened in my personal life that it wasn't just possible at the time. Plus also changing business focuses meant that my area at the time was not prioritized. So there's always they always need to focus on the business case for those kinds of promotions. And then I also had to take a hard look at what direction my career was actually pointing at, if I decided to stay and put in all my energy in a big consulting company.
What does that mean for you though? I mean, walk us through your thought process there, because last time we caught up, it was it felt like I was just. You said you were moving in this one direction that you can't get out of if you didn't do it now. Is that accurate? Yeah.
And as you know, the reason that that I was invited here is because it is a design podcast, and for several years I was working primarily as a designer. So that really is my roots as a designer from the Philippines, who ended up in technology consulting in Denmark, which is also super exciting. But I also had to think okay, I was really getting into deep financial kind of work, because I was in the financial services department, and I really love that sector. I think there's so many things going on my worry into shifting into one industry is that I would find it too uniform. But actually, there's a lot of different challenges happening in financial services that, and even when I just focused on one area, we were trying to do payments at some point in time. Even that, even if you think it's a niche topic, it was so broad. There was so much going on just in that one subtopic in the finance industry. So I actually wouldn't mind continuing there.
Before you
But
continue
again,
with your line of thought, though, like what's one
mhm.
practical tip that you've learned that you can share with the audience working as a senior consultant at
Yeah,
EY in
yeah,
financial services, right?
yeah. Well, it was very fast paced, and I think anybody working in consulting or any area related to tech, when you're moving in a fast paced career, you tend to do more and react more rather than really just stopping to strategize and be more intentional. Um, so I think a lot of my friends and colleagues were also surprised to see me resign because they thought I was doing really well, and I was very ambitious, and I would like to think that I still am. Um, but I think just um, it's like thinking of my career as a marathon and not a race. And I think if you get too much into the race aspect and just the speed aspect, then you can ignore a lot of other things in your life. So I don't really see it as slowing down, but being more strategic, a strategic pause. And I did use the time to look at other aspects of my life, like, um, yeah, like when I got my dog, that really uh, forced me to stay more in the present. And yeah, so she's just taught me a lot of things like that, and to learn how to look at my career in a different way rather than just go fast and go up, and that there are other ways of looking at it.
So what's has changed in your thinking? How are you processing this insight? You know, thinking about your next moves or after reflecting for a while.
Well, I definitely think that, yeah, it's still, I'm still processing it after being away for 2.5, almost 3 months. Um, like, I think working in big companies with established routines and structures and processes, there are certain roles that you have to fill. And me coming from a more creative background, I think that was my biggest struggle to kind of, okay, where do I sit now that I've done design, I've done data, I've my last area was transformation. And I was actually in a call with a recruiter from another firm, and she was like, well, you're not technical enough to go to this one team, but you don't have enough experience in strategy to go to that other team, so I can't put you anywhere, so I'm sorry. um, and I'm in that point where I'm trying not to uh, take that personally, or yeah, to just really lean into that I'm in a hybrid position, and there will be somebody who finds that as a strength and not a liability. Um, that because I just work across so many areas, I'm able to make connections that maybe other people who are strictly in one niche cannot. So
Yeah,
I'm just
and
trying
I find that
to. Mhm.
I mean, different companies require different shapes, right?
Mhm.
Possibly it's the correct environment for the shape that you have, or maybe you haven't told me yet. You probably have an offer somewhere. Um, but yeah, sorry I cut you off. Please go on.
Yeah, so I'm really working on leaning into what I'm really interested in rather than what I think companies might be interested in, and trying to fit myself in there. Um, so let's see if that strategy works out. Because
Wait, what are you interested in? Right, like as of now, it's 2025. You know, AI is all the rage. What are you interested in?
mm,
And what kinds of activities or initiatives are top of mind for you now?
yes, so a pattern in my career has definitely been I think I'm an early adopter in whatever I see is really fast moving at the moment. And that is how I got into UX. That's how I got into data science at the time. And right now, that's why I'm shifting my focus towards more AI, because I think at the core, my passion is in innovation and doing things in a new way, redesigning systems, teams, roles, processes, um, to do something in a way that hasn't been done before. I don't want to use the word like new synergies, but I have been in corporate for a while, so yeah, just
Oh, I follow all
getting
the
getting out of
consulting
silo
meme accounts.
thinking. Yeah,
Synergy, value creation. Yeah.
scaling AI business value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Gen AI transformation.
Yeah.
um, I think we did a quick catch up the other day,
Mm.
and you also said you were more interested in mentoring women who are going to, you know, other countries, trying to set up their careers there. What's top of mind for you in that regard?
Yeah, and thank you for also adding that to my interests. Um, I think also with me slowing down, I also got into mentoring because I just one day I posted on LinkedIn that I would be open for coffee to anyone who wants to meet. And a few of those coffee chats became like actual mentorships, which also led to me becoming a mentor in the EY Women in Consulting program, which also led to me leading that program last year. And I think that was my favorite personal thing that I've done in my 5 years there, even though it wasn't not directly client facing. Um, I am proud of that I did get a commercial aspect when I took over the program. But I also think that's not the entire purpose of the program. At the time, it was seen as a recruitment tool for us to get more women students. Um, but I think the problem of women in consulting is not in the junior levels, but actually in the more senior levels, because it is actually quite equal at the lower ranks, but the higher you go, the less women you see. So I was also slowly trying to shift that as a like empowerment and retention tool for the other consultants and senior consultants and the other women uh, in consulting in my previous company. So there was really a role for everybody to play in there. So for me, it wasn't just the one-on-one mentoring, which obviously I enjoyed, but actually scaling that impact from like my one-on-one mentorships to a whole program. And hopefully before I start the new job, I'm also able to launch my own just a pilot to begin with, of like helping whoever I can in my network, and maybe a degree from that, and connecting people who are in need of mentorships. And I know there are also a lot of other mentorship programs out there, but I think I like personally I benefited from it a lot as an immigrant in the country and also as a woman. So I had like a double barrier.
Double whammy. Double glass ceiling situation.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think
yeah.
I do have something to say. And I always also like there were a lot of our juniors who wanted to become mentors who were hesitant about it. And I told them that like, well, the person that you're mentoring, they want to be where you are right now. So I think as long as you just know a little bit more than the other person, then you can definitely help them. And I think mentorship is also not always about you telling the other person what to do. It's more of asking them the right questions, because usually the answer is already inside the person and they just haven't realized it yet. And our role is really not to tell uh, people what to do, but kind of just giving them the guiding directions for them to realize it on their own.
Uh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I
there's a
love
whole
the.
other thing of
Mm.
mentors and sponsors and coaches and etc. But that's a different discussion.
Oh, like I mean, there are people here who
Mm-hmm.
would probably form their own, employee resource groups. I'm sure a lot of the Filipino designers abroad are either sponsors, members of these groups, or have created them. What are there any principles, reflections for you when building these kinds of programs?
Yeah, I think um, another issue or challenge coming up with these is that they tend to die when the founder becomes busy with something else. Um, and I think when I took over the program, I knew that I was only gonna do it that year, because I think I had plans of moving on at some point. So I really structured our operating model to be sustainable. That I was already kind of looking out who would be able to take over the lead role after I left. Um, so I was really doing long term planning rather than just looking at the year I was currently in and making sure there would be somebody who will continue the work. Um, and I think, yeah, that's my issue, is that I'm a perfectionist who struggles to just start things sometimes, because I think everything has to be in place. And I always think like, yeah, but when I get busy in the new role, what's gonna happen to this program? Uh, Stuff like that. So yeah, so
Oh, I love
it's two
the
sides
succession planning. Like no,
also.
it's it's rare for people to even design an entire operating model. I love that you call it an operating model. No one does that.
I'm from
Like for me,
consulting, so
yeah.
I just call it that always. Yeah, and this is
Yeah,
also
right.
something that yeah, I was talking to a Danish designer yesterday who introduced me to design ops. So and it makes sense, because I mean there's DevOps, so of course there would be design ops, and that was a bit of a duh moment for me as a consultant, because I thought, maybe that could also be something I could shift into in the future if I also wanted to go back to something more design adjacent, because right now, like, design is more of a tool in my consulting toolbox rather than like I don't apply to things saying I'm a designer with a consulting toolbox. Yeah, I think yeah, the market here is very competitive, and you just really need to have an amazing portfolio, which I don't have because all my consulting work is under NDA.
NDA.
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay. That's so hard. So, well, what else is on your mind aside from that?
Yeah. Aside from that, I think uh, another really interesting uh, event that I went to was in Amsterdam in the beginning of the month. It's called AIX Design, and it's looking into a more the critical lens into AI. Again, it's about slowing down a bit and looking at should we just accept how AI is designed right now. It's really more business focused, but we're kind of getting away from more human values. Um, and they looked into different themes like slow AI and ethical AI, esoteric AI. And I thought that was really cool. Like, for example, they kind of look at it from the lens of like, how did people predict things in the past? Like, they used tarot cards, they read the birds in the sky. So it's a different mental model, and then kind of relating that to how people think of AI now, like is AI magic, etc.
Oh yeah, like the AI explainability is a whole domain.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah,
topic.
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it because it was seeing AI not from the usual big tech perspective, or like the typical other tech or startup conferences that I attend. Nobody's selling you anything. It's just like geeks talking to each other about yeah, more like yeah, and also not, yeah, in consulting it was also quite regulations driven. So yeah, this was a bit more, this appealed more to my artistic sensibilities.
With less compliance and risks and and fraud detection. No fraud detection.
No.
No KYC involved. Okay. So it looks like you're in a career transition.
Mhm.
You're trying to decide which thing to go for. Do you feel like you're, I mean, as far as we've caught up in, seems like you're into AI and possibly go back into consulting, but with
Mhm.
all of your skills stacked. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I don't think you need an AI to tell you that I will most likely be going into an AI role next. But yeah,
What are
nothing
your
to
current thoughts
announce
on
anytime
AI
soon.
though? Like even if we will probably see you announce something at some point, but what are your what's bugging you about artificial intelligence, or what's making you hopeful about it?
On one hand, I really enjoy it as a tool. It's optimized so many things in my life. Uh, like I do see why it's more helpful than just, the usual Google and search and go through multiple things. If you just need something quickly, if you need an editor, um, it is also useful in consulting, with summarizing or like quickly looking at inspiration for frameworks. And then as an artist and designer, I have found it useful for mockups and for smaller asset generation. It's like having a junior designer in your team, but it's a robot. And
Honestly, for me, it's not like junior level. It's like senior.
honestly, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think some people who are saying the output is not good enough, they're coping a little bit. I'm like, yeah, when I started, I definitely wasn't coming up with this level of what it's generating now. So it is exciting, but it's also a little bit scary. I don't think they've fully looked into the implications of this. If so many jobs are affected, I mean, if AI is doing everything, like what are we supposed to do? And then I also, it definitely bothers me with the rights. Like they haven't thought that out properly. There's no precedent to this, like legally. I don't think the people whose work the models trained on are being compensated fairly, because I don't think, um, yeah, I think the input data or the training data is just as important as the model. Like if they didn't have all this data to train with, it wouldn't be, yeah, like you wouldn't have it as it is right now. So, and yeah, like I can kind of understand why the artists who feel like their work has been plagiarized, like how do you even get compensated for that, and how do you prove something like that? Because I mean, if you think about it, when you're starting out as a designer, you also kind of copy from different places, and then over time you develop your own unique design aesthetic and voice. Or like if you're a writer, you develop your own, yeah, you develop your own vocabulary and the way you paint with words. So and the AI just kind of synthesizes all that, but in a, yeah, in a different way. So I think that's gonna be the challenge. Like, how fair are the compensation models right now?
And it's really a question of intellectual property rights, and uh, none of the major AI companies will definitely open source the training data because that's their competitive advantage. There's literally no incentive to do that, right? Um, uh, it's really about, at least there are some, um, what do you call this? There are some initiatives though, from, let's say Adobe, or like metadata tagging technologies on what's generated or not, or whatever. But then, yeah, it really is an ethics thing.
Yeah.
My personal belief is, yes, the designers and the artists must be compensated. They should opt in,
Mhm.
and a new legal framework must arise to make this happen.
Yeah,
But
personally,
yeah, it's
I
really
think
hard. Mm.
when I do, when I post my stuff online, I think I'm just operating on the assumption that it will get stolen at some point. But yeah, I it's easy for me to say because it's not my main source of income at the moment. But if it was, then I would definitely be, yeah, trying to fight for the compensation, right? Or, yeah,
Yeah,
helping
and
figure that out.
one more thing is like,
Mm-hmm.
at least to your earlier point outside the image generation stuff,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that what kind of society are we shaping here? Even I listen to the Anthropic founders
Mm-hmm.
interview sometimes, and he himself doesn't know. He's just like, we're
It's
just gonna have to deal with it at some
a
point,
little
and
bit
like,
irresponsible. Um,
and world leaders like,
yeah,
questioning him
yeah,
right then and there. But what can we do as
yeah.
people with less power in the world?
Yeah, I
uh,
think for
mm,
me, what I could just do right now is help out with AI education. I think at least for more for this kind of training to be accessible to people, at least they know what it can do. That's one aspect. The second thing I'm worried about are the younger people who just grow up in the AI first world where
Generation Alpha,
they don't know how to
Generation
write
AI.
things for
Yeah.
themselves. Like how do you think critically when this is the default? I mean, things were already pretty bad before AI, and like it's just gonna get worse now. And even I have fallen for AI generated images, so I think it's getting to like that the scary point when like yeah, people are doing you know that on a video call you can already fake your face and voice there. And somebody has been scammed by a bank, or like he thought it was a bank of another business, and like they were able to transfer a lot of money because it looked so
Oh
real.
yeah, the social engineering
Yeah,
implications
yeah.
are
So
crazy. I have attended like talks on this
mm,
related to AI fraud,
yeah,
and
that's why finance
yeah.
is a really fun area to be in.
Save people money. Don't use 11 labs. uh, yeah,
Yeah.
but on a topic of creative ownership, I think the phrase is image provenance.
Mm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
building technologies that tag the AI generated image, so the origin could be verified. But yeah, I think it's an early movement.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you
everyone's overwhelmed.
fight
Yeah.
AI with AI basically. It is the same with financial crime. You also need to use AI to use it against the fraudsters, but the issue is like we're burdened by so much compliance that the criminals will always win because they can just use whatever tool at their disposal right away.
Oh yeah, like the
Mm-hmm.
attacks are more. I mean, it's more geared towards attacks than defense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what I've been seeing, at
Yeah,
least from the
but we will
security
definitely
perspective.
see more fraud cases rise.
I mean,
Mm.
it's already been happening here in the Philippines. So,
You know what's
I
the most
mean,
insane thing to me? I think the craziest product is that you can get mini loans with Gcash.
okay.
Like they would not approve that in Europe. I think it's way too risky of a product.
I think there's some. Yeah, like 3 days ago, Gcash said its borrowing arm has issued 253 billion in loans to
Yeah,
8.7 million borrowers. So, good luck. I don't
watch
know what
out.
we're doing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus the gambling stuff.
We need
So,
to talk with Dan about this again,
yeah.
especially like he's in Florida, so Yeah.
Very interesting insights. Like tonight. Thanks, Mika. Any final words from you from our catch up?
Yeah, I think the only other thing we didn't really mention was um, to designers. I think it's really good to learn more about the business side, um, because they have all the power right now, and just kind of understanding their point of view. Because I think as designers, we were really trained like the human centered way, and our agenda is, I think it clashes with the business agenda. Um, so I think if I knew all of this when I was in UX, I think I would be an even more powerful designer at the time.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and when you get into the parts of the business that generate the revenue, and you
Mhm.
suddenly feel powerful as a designer,
Mhm.
slightly a bit more influential and what do you call this? Layoff proof.
Well, nobody's
uh,
ever really layoff proof unless you're the business owner.
true, true. Uh, yes, that's a separate topic.
Yeah. No, we have
Yeah,
brought up
yeah.
many interesting topics.
On the business side though, like
Mhm.
because uh, that's a bit hard or ambiguous to unpack. What are like two or three practical things to do? Because you're a consultant now, right? Like you know the frameworks, you talk to maps every day, you have the NDAs. What are
Yeah.
some things our Filipino designers can do to be a bit more business savvy?
Yeah, I think just knowing the basic profit, revenue, uh, cost, that's the most basic to know, and like just understanding what hits the company bottom line, understanding business decisions, who are the decision makers. That's one. If you really want to get into it, I would look into core consulting skills, like the issue tree making. I think that's, I could see some similarities on how it could possibly help in design. Because like consultants use a lot of post-its as well. We also do a lot of workshops. Like we borrowed a lot from design thinking. So I think there's something that you can kind of um, borrow from each other.
All
Yeah,
right,
just kind of look into consulting toolkits.
go back to your accounting and your five whys, but in our business sense, root cause analysis.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
all right, thank you so much, Mika. This was wonderful. We said it would be 20 minutes, but we
yeah.
had such a fun conversation. But I don't
Like,
mind.
do you edit this down or like do you just
No, no, no.
put it as
It's
is?
all going up. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a good evening.